Women want to join us on the front lines. Actually, if we're talking about women in combat, you'd have to go pew, 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 because women can't make gun sounds for some reason. We've got women in combat now. It's not going well. I believe the first one who did it became a deserter. But members of the American military are saying, you know what, let's include ladies in the draft. I think they're bluffing. I don't think they really want women in the draft, and that Ted Cruz is disgusted by the idea, so am I. But I also love the idea because it's calling feminism's bluff. Well, they always want equality with the fun stuff. They want to be equally represented in movies and other successful things that involve tons of money. But you don't hear them bitching about sanitation. I want to be 50% of sanitation workers. And you want to be 50% of the military? Okay, come on into combat. Come on into our world. We die at our jobs. Check it out. This was on the Greg Gutfeld show.
Feminists want total equality. This is total equality.
Yeah, equality sucks. By every metric, men have it worse off. We're more likely to get raped if you include prison. We're more likely to be assaulted. We're more likely to die. We're more likely to commit suicide.
And you're not
if you want to come over to our side of it, then get ready for some rough times.
I will dispute the rape part, but I will say that industrial accidents, true. People who build bridges generally are men, and they often fall off them. I get that. You know, that happens. And war, that happens. So I guess, you know,
okay, that's enough. So there's a backlash now. How dare you? The thing about feminists is they've been preaching to the converted for so long about things like the wage gap. Oh, we make 70 cents on the dollar. The president repeats it. Yeah, sort of, but you choose to. You tend not to get involved in finance. You tend to put family over business, and ultimately, over time, that means you earn less. You don't literally earn 70 cents for the same dollar for the same job. If you did, we'd hire you. That's what we do with illegal immigrants. Everyone would hire only women. It's a very easy thing to refute, but feminism is particularly lax when it comes to doing their homework. Check out this rebuttal that was put out by some Vox wannabe liberal site that blows your mind with stats. You ready to have your mind blown? I think Ross Story and Mediaite picked this up. Men have it so hard. Wah, we're such whiners. You're the one who started whining.
By every metric, men have it worse off. We're more likely to get raped if you include prison. We're more likely to be assaulted.
You hear
We're
that?
more likely to die.
Giggling?
We're more likely to commit
Listen
suicide.
to the piano music. Yes, they agree with me. People are dying. Do you like the flash bulbs? That's like the cadaver.
They want equality for everything fun. How about you're equal in sanitation? How about you have to go down into the sewers and remove rat kings from blocked pipes?
The prison
How about you
thing,
go to war and die?
Okay, stop this right there. So, no, but keep it up on the screen. So earlier they say women are more likely to be sexually assaulted. Yeah, look at this, sorry. Okay, that's enough. They change it from rape to sexual assault, and then they say disproportionately they are sexually assaulted more in jail than men are. I'd rather be sexually assaulted than raped. And I wasn't talking about per cap. I'm talking about all men in America and Canada and the Western world and all women. And when you run all those stats, it comes out really grim. And by the way, also in that video, it says we want free from physical harassment. Yes, there's plenty of laws for that. And we want free from verbal harassment. No one is free from verbal harassment, I'm afraid. People will make fun of you on YouTube in the comments. Don't like it, don't read it. And to pull up a Rosie the Riveter thing, you know why she's welding? Barely 2% of women are welders. She's welding because her man is in World War I dying, you dummies. But let's quickly go through the stats. Can you pull those up, Brad? Zoom in on the left-hand column here. Look at this. Men are 97% of combat fatalities, 97% of alimony, 94% of work suicides, 93% of work fatalities, 81% of all war deaths. They lose custody in 84% of divorces. You keep going down. This is all the metrics I was talking about. Every metric, blah, blah, blah. One of the best articles on this is by Jim Goad. It's called The Glass Coffin. He's obviously lampooning the idea of the glass ceiling. And he's saying, you want to get to our world? Okay, you're not smashing up into the CEO's office. You're smashing down into the coffin to die. And let's get a hold of Jim Goad, actually, and talk about this. Hi, Jim. Are you there?
Hey, Gavin. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, spectacular. Thanks for asking.
You have a beautiful glow about you today.
I know. I'm just radiant. I'm bursting with love and compassion. I don't think there's going to be any more world wars or AIDS or racism or homophobia.
There definitely won't be. Have you considered that you might be pregnant? When did you last have your period?
I haven't menstruated since the 70s, actually.
You're pregnant, my friend. That's the glow. Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Oh, thanks. I got a Pinterest, so if you want to, and a bridal registry, so you can set it all up. Thanks.
We were just talking about, on Fox the other day, I said that by virtually every metric, I was plagiarizing you, by the way, by virtually every metric, men have it worse. They are more likely to commit suicide, more likely to die at work. And then I said if you include prison, they're more likely to get raped. And the left has never considered this. And they start freaking out saying, actually, women are disproportionately more sexually assaulted in prison. They changed it from rape to sexual assault to win. And I don't even believe that. But your article, The Glass Coffin, neatly went through the statistics of all men in America versus all women. And it's hard to find an area where they have it worse off.
It went through workplace deaths, that article in particular. But yeah, there's not a category where women die more at work. And the dangerous jobs are ridiculously disproportionately held by men, like crab fisherman, taxi driver, the ones that actually get you killed. Yeah.
Well, that's what's interesting about the whole feminist movement now is they want, equality in Hollywood movies. They want to be represented in all the fun stuff. But you go, okay, are you concerned about sanitation? Would you like to drive a rig? Do you want to work, in in the trenches, digging ditches?
Of course not. And there was a brilliant comment on Tacky's Mag a couple weeks ago. He said that women want to be treated like equals, but they also want to be treated like women. So basically, feminism is taking everything they didn't have without taking on any of the shit that they never had to deal with historically anyway. And if you actually care about fairness, that's unfair. If fairness is actually your game rather than power, then admit that that's unfair. Get on an Alaskan crab boat and get sucked up by a tsunami and eaten by sharks. It's for the sake of equality.
Yeah. Well, we've done that in a sense. I mean, in Northern Europe, when they prosper in places like Finland and they get up to a certain level of GDP, all of a sudden women start pouring out of STEM and going back into the home and naturally sort of acquiescing back into these traditional values where they're housewives. If we made women 50% of every single job there is, it would be a matter of months before they started leaving sanitation in droves, and I believe leaving STEM and all these other things, and focusing on being a housewife and fun jobs.
It all depends. I think so many of them have been brainwashed into thinking that's uncool or that a career is more important. And if that's the case, I guess if you believe in eugenics, those women won't reproduce. And in a generation or two, women who are inclined that way won't exist anymore.
Last question. No one seems to understand this deal with the wage gap. They do make 77 cents on the dollar, but that's because they tend to choose less lucrative careers and tend to put family over business.
Statistics are always complicated, and you can never have a definitive answer because there might be another angle that you're not considering, but that's such a stacked, loaded statistic. For the same fucking jobs, they make the same money. I think that when they finally crunched as many numbers as possible, it was like 97 cents on the dollar. Big fucking deal. They wanted to get rid of the bad shit about patriarchy, but keep all the perks such as chivalry and being treated like goddesses and you go girl and empowerment and everything else while shitting on men basically and leaving them to die and laughing about it.
Yes.
Not cool. Not cool.
Yeah, well, we're culpable too. We all but encourage them to do this. And they keep complaining and complaining. And then when someone goes, actually, if you really want to run the numbers, what you're saying isn't false, they have a complete meltdown because they've never considered the possibility that they're not the top victim in town.
I don't know if that's just acculturation. A lot of guys are so abjectly pussy whipped, or they like pussy so much that they'll put up with anything from a woman for it. And I think a lot of women know that, and they play that, which I would too if I were in their shoes. But of course, if someone's going to give you free things because they think you're a victim, who in their right mind would not accept that?
Right.
You'd be foolish not to.
Jim, thank you so much for joining us, and I really cannot say enough about your article, The Glass Coffin. It was such an eye-opener, and it's a slap in the face to feminism across the board.
Well, thank you, sir. Sorry for being disjointed. I'm a little sleep-deprived, but so are you.
Yes.
Cheers. All right.